Hey there, this is Yelena with Black Sheep 303 Creative, and it's been about 19 months since I've posted to YouTube, so I hope you guys are happy I'm back. I'm pretty happy to be back. Long story short, I got really burned out and I had to quit for a while, but I'm hoping to be back now for the foreseeable future. But this is today's project. It is a rainbow blend Get Well Soon card using Concord 9th's new inks, as well as their very, very, very smooth white cardstock. So this is the 22 ink, I believe it's 22 ink, cube set of the whole ink set. Just want to show you that the box that it comes in, those 5 inks on the right are the ones I'm going to be using for the project. So I'm taking my life-changing blender brushes, and as I mentioned, this is the Concord 9th white cardstock. The white cardstock is different from all the other cardstocks that they have. Now, the cardstocks are really pretty. They're very pretty colors. They match the inks. But the white, so they have white and black in addition to the ink colors. The white is really, really smooth, like velvety smooth. I don't know, it's similar to Bristol smooth, I guess I would say. So that's why I wanted to try this blending technique. Now, you can see that I started out pretty light. This color is Aqua Sky. With my blender brush, because I wasn't really sure how this paper would take the ink, and then I kind of adjusted my fingers onto the blender brush head and went more aggressively to get a more saturated color with the blue. And this is Sprout, and I'm just starting off pretty aggressive on this, and you can see that it's blotchier kind of right off, just from probably being more aggressive, like pressing too hard with the brush head from the beginning. And then I'm going to go back to the Aqua Sky and blend in a little bit more, and then go over the seam between the Sprout and the Aqua Sky to get that to blend a little bit more smoothly. And I pretty much do that through the whole rainbow, as you will see. I would compare this, because they are dye inks, to blending with distress inks. Not as easy to blend as distress oxides, because that's a different type of ink. But this is similar to distress ink. So if you're fairly patient and you go over it a lot, like this did take me a while. It was probably 15 to 20 minutes of blending, but I was being a little bit perfectionistic. So I've sped this up. Obviously, I'd edited some of it out. But you can see that it does, even though like the green, it was just the splotchiest part of this whole blend that I wind up with. I'm kind of trying to mellow it out a little bit, and it's getting better as I continue to go over it. And then, the yellow was Buttercup. Sorry guys, I'm getting distracted there for a second. And then I'm going to go now to Marmalade, which is the orange. And this is a really bold orange, so I was starting off kind of light. Like you can see, I'm holding the blender brush a little bit further back, and then I move my hands up to the head, and now I'm going a little bit more aggressively on the orange to get a strong saturation. And similar to the green, it gets a little blotchy initially, but then eventually I do get it to smooth out very nicely. And I found that with the paper being super smooth, you could really just sort of blend back and forth without even adding a lot of ink to the brush, which you'll see me do kind of towards the end, and it does help smooth down the blend. And then by the time the whole thing dries, it's actually very, very smooth and very pretty. Like, I think the colors are really interesting in this group of inks. I mean, these are kind of somewhat traditional, but they also have some more unusual colors that a lot of ink lines don't have, so that's kind of fun. This is my favorite one, Honeysuckle, because it's a really bright fuchsia pink, and I love fuchsia pink. And you can see how easily that blends in with the Marmalade, largely because they are very similar in tone. There's not a lot of contrast between those two colors, which is why the blend is so nice. But again, I'm just going to go back and blend over the sort of transitions between the colors, usually using whatever the first color was, to kind of smooth out the blend. And then I'm going to darken down the blue, because the blue seems kind of light to me right now with the pink being so bold. So I'm trying to get another coat of blue down, which I do, and it does improve everything. And sorry about the camera shake on this a little bit, you guys. And again, smoothing out the green. But again, I didn't add any ink to this. Now I'm just going over with the different brushes to smooth it out. And it does, I felt like it did help, and it did kind of improve it. And there you can see it all dry and ready to go. And I thought pretty darn nice. And it's a really nice cardstock too. Just from, aside from being super smooth, it's also like a good strength. It's about 80 pounds. Okay, this is from the Spellbinders July 2020 Small Die of the Month. Now, that is a limited edition die. It's only available through the end of July, and I will have a little more info about that as we use it. This is a Get Well Soon sentiment that I actually printed onto cardstock from my computer. I didn't have any Get Well Soon stamps, and this is going to my cousin and his wife, who unfortunately both have COVID right now, but they're doing fine. But I wanted to make sort of a gender neutral card. I did die cut that out with the second smallest die in the Elizabeth Craft Design stitched oval die set. And then I have these two tiny little stamps from the Butterfly Beauty stamp set from Concord 9th, which is unfortunately discontinued, but I'm sure you could probably find it on eBay or even possibly even Amazon. So with this arched piece from that Spellbinders Die of the Month kit, small Die of the Month kit, I am using my liquid glue from Lawn Fawn to put some very tiny little drops of glue on the super thin edges and lines in this die, or die cut at this point now. I just love it. I think it's absolutely amazing, and it forms this really cool frame when you put them both together, as you will see here in a minute. Now, as I discovered when doing my links in the video description for this post, this die set has sold out for the month of July, and I was hoping you'd have at least a week to still get it, but I'm afraid it is gone. However, the good thing about that, oh, and here's the reason I use a liquid glue to digress for a second. I have to pick the whole thing up and reposition it. So I have to use liquid glue for this kind of thing, because this is exactly 4 1/4 wide. So this is an A2 size card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But so the good thing about the die set being sold out is that possibly what may happen is Spellbinders may decide to make it available beyond just the month that is for. That does happen occasionally with sets that are particularly popular. And this is a really, really beautiful die set. I mean, with this frame that you can see, it overlaps on the vertical sides there and creates this whole frame. So cool. And then it has two really pretty flowers in the die set. So fantastic. So let's all keep our fingers crossed that this is going to become available beyond this month. Like, they will make it as a separate die set available in the future. Hopefully. I don't know anything about it. Spellbinders didn't pay me anything to do this. I bought it myself. But that is a possibility, so let's hope so. Now, the two little stamps from that Butterfly Beauty stamp set are, it's a tiny little butterfly and a little heart. And then this is the ink pad, and the ink pad's a little different. It's a firm foam ink pad. Say that 5 times fast. Catherine Pooler also uses a foam ink pad with her dye inks. Everybody else uses a felt ink pad, as far as I know. So it's a little bit different. It feels a little different, but these are kind of cool. They're very juicy and easy to ink up your stamps with. They are, at least from my feel test, slightly firmer than the Catherine Pooler foam ink pads. So a little bit different from there, but pretty cool. Now, that pink that I used was Ballet Slippers, which is lighter than Honeysuckle. And after I stamped it and checked it with the card front, it just seemed too light. So I had to reline it up again with the heart and restamp it in Honeysuckle. And I got real close. Because that's an oval, it's a little tricky to line up in the MISTI perfectly. But I got it. So you can't really even tell that the lighter pink is under there. It does show a tiny bit, but no big deal. Now I'm going to bump up the sentiment in the middle using some foam squares. These are my scrapbook.com foam squares. I just got these, so kind of fun. And I tend to go a little bit foam happy, as you can see here, because I I mail everything pretty much, and I don't want stuff to get squished, especially like squished in certain places and not in others, if it's up on foam. So I tend to overdo it a little bit on the foam. And so I'm going to center that right in the middle of the frame over that beautiful rainbow blend. And then I have some clear droplets here on the side that I am going to glue down as just a little added embellishment. Now these are from Pretty Pink Posh. These are the 6mm and the 4mm size. Unfortunately, Pretty Pink Posh doesn't make the 6mm size anymore, but Dress My Craft does now. So in the video description as well as over on my blog, I will have links to the 4mm from Pretty Pink Posh, as well as an assortment from Dress My Craft that is 4mm and 6mm, as well as just the 6mm from Dress My Craft, depending on what you may be interested in. So you can check that out in the video description and on my blog post. So I'm using the liquid glue again from Lawn Fawn to stick those down. And I thought at this point I was done. Because, you know, it looks pretty good. Doesn't need a whole lot more, but I'm a little compulsive. So I decided to add a tiny bit of Tonic Nuvo glitter drops to the top and bottom around those stamped images. They seemed a little small. So the heart got 2 or 3 drops of Aquatic Mist glitter drops, and the butterfly got 2 drops of Sherbet Shimmer. And that is the completed project. I really like it. I did want to point out that these inks are also water reactive, so you can see the little tiny dots up in the upper left there, and then they're in the lower right. That happened accidentally to the upper left, so I had to add a couple to the lower right just to make it look purposeful. So that's kind of a cool benefit of these inks as well. And I really, really hope you try out those new inks, and especially the cardstock, because the cardstock's really different. And I hope you were inspired today. Thank you so much for watching. I know I've been gone for a long time, so it's nice to be back. Hope everybody's doing all right during this crazy time of COVID-19, since I am posting this in July 2020. As always, you can leave me a comment. I'd like to hear from you. I know I've ignored comments for the last 19 months, but I will be responding to those now. As well, I'll respond to the old ones as well as any new ones I get. And please give me a thumbs up to tell YouTube you like my content so I can do some more. And you can follow me on Instagram as well at BlackSheep303. Thanks so much. Have a great day.